Today on All Girls Garage, Bogi and Faye are going to prove to the world that you can, in fact, tow with the Jeep Gladiator diesel. But not just tow a regular bumper trailer. The girls are going to fabricate a gooseneck hitch to sit underneath the truck bed so they can tow in style.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to All Girls Garage. This week we have a very fun project in the shop. This is a 2021 Jeep Gladiator, but not just any Gladiator. It's obviously been highly modified already, sitting on 37s, nice little lift kit, all sorts of fun stuff done to this. But it's also equipped with the V6 Eco Diesel, which was basically the engine kind of taken out of the Dodge Ram 1500. So you get about 260 horsepower, but you get a ton of torque, sitting at like 442, I think. So this makes for a great towing vehicle, and we've got some fun stuff in mind for how to set this up for towing.
Right, and tow he will. Yeah, this is a crazy Jeep guy. Not only does he have this Gladiator, but he also has a toy Jeep, you know, an off-roading, like, fun sort of Jeep that he wants to be able to tow places, like you already mentioned, but he doesn't just want to, like, you know, tow a normal trailer, like, put a hitch on the back and actually just, you know, normal trailer like a normal person would do. This guy wants to be able to put a gooseneck trailer on the back of this truck.
Yes, but he's very specific about what he wants. He doesn't want a typical mounting point for his gooseneck trailer where it kind of takes up a bulk of the bed and makes it pretty much unusable. Yeah. He wants the mount for the gooseneck to be underneath the bed, which makes things a little bit more complicated. Better, I think, in the long run, definitely raises the cool factor, mostly because we're pretty sure that this has never actually been done before.
We can handle it.
So there's that. This is going to be a little bit of an adventure. We're going to be figuring it out as we go along and doing some other supporting mods. You know how Faye and I both love supporting mods.
Absolutely. So we say we get this thing on the lift, take the bed off, and
start cutting?
I know. Yeah, because cutting up brand new vehicles still under warranty is my absolute favorite thing to do.
It's mine.
No, it's not.
It's mine.
It's
totally mine.
It's going to be okay.
All right, let's maneuver this onto the rack, shall we?
Yeah.
Okay, so hopefully seeing all of this will help make a little bit more sense of what we're trying to talk about here. This is the gooseneck trailer mount, and sometimes the mounts go above the bed. This is going underneath the bed, and it becomes this kind of neat flush mount situation where that slots in there
when you're
using it.
Or
cover. So this whole thing is going to sit nice and neatly in there. It mounts kind of horizontally across the frame rails, essentially.
Where we can fit it.
Yeah. And these obviously exist, right? This is a kit that exists. This particular one is out of, or it's meant for a Dodge Ram 2500, 3500, that kind of deal. And then they make generic kits for it. So obviously this is a thing that exists. As far as we know, it's never been done on the Gladiator. So that's where the challenge
comes in. And there's no kit for it.
Right.
So we just found one that we thought was going to be sort of close, and we're going to modify it.
Yeah.
Probably.
What normally would happen is this is going to sit underneath, and then these side rails are going to bolt to it, and then these end plates are going to bolt to the frame rail, and it bolts to this, and everything is nice and secure and rigid.
Should be nice and easy.
Right. Problem is, it's not for the Gladiator, and the contour of the frame rails won't allow this to happen. So we may try to fabricate something, or we may wind up welding instead of bolting. We're not really sure.
Right, because we don't want to take too much meat off of this, because then that will, like, harm the structural integrity, and we don't want the trailer coming loose. That would make us look really bad, and
that would be real bad.
So,
yeah. So we don't know how much modifying we're going to have to do. There's definitely going to be some modifying involved, but now hopefully this makes a little bit more sense. We're going to go head over underneath our Jeep and see just how extensive this modification is going to be.
All right, sounds good.
Tape measures.
So, yeah, just kind of seeing, like, the width here that we've got to work with.
Watch out for flying bolts.
Oh, God. That's heavy!
Okay, so obviously we have the bed off now. This is going to make this a whole lot easier. And all of the measurements that Faye did underneath show us that we are pretty sure everything's going to fit where it needs to, but this thing clearly has to get out of the way, and we still don't know what it is. So Faye's getting the wiring out of the way, so I'm actually cut it, and I get to cut things.
Yeah, she gets to. I get to avoid cutting things. All right, this customer's car. I mean, and then I actually stick this blanket over the fuel tank.
That's probably not a bad idea.
Yeah. Do you want to sort of tuck that around the harness as well?
Yes. With that smocked up, and so far, knock wood, this may actually be easier than we feared. But we've got it all kind of set in place, and you can see why we can't use these the way they are. Basically, this whole thing needs to sit down about a ½ inch lower than it is currently. So we're going to have to do a little bit of modification to this to make it all work with these frame rails and that bed.
Yeah, but overall, like, I'm stoked that it fits so nicely between these spring perches. Like, that was a major, I don't know, I was a little bit surprised by that. So this sort of like marking out here where we're going to be cutting, I say we because maybe I'll feel like a little bit comfortable
You got
with this,
girl.
since it's
You
not
got this.
actually the vehicle. Just kidding. Well, we only have one of these. So, but also you can kind of see we've got everything set up. We've got it level. We've got it centered. We've got this back plate as it should be positioned. However, the front one we decided to flip because it's going to actually interfere with one of the supports in the bed. So looking like actually we might have to trim this part
I'm
down
thinking
as
so
well.
too. I might make a little mark there. So far, maybe. I don't want to jinx us, but we might get lucky on this.
I like getting lucky.
With the gooseneck hitch locked in place, the girls can start to modify the metal to fit. And Bogi starts the work on the rear airbag so the back of the truck can hold the extra weight.
All right, so everyone knows I'm a total Toyota fangirl, and in my eyes, Toyota can do no wrong. However, one thing that I have noticed is that the factory oil cartridge filter does not have an anti-drain back valve. So the oil drains back through the filter when the engine is turned off. This creates a dry start on the filter, and most engine wear occurs at startup due to lack of oil pressure. To fix this problem, Baxter Performance has come up with the spin-on oil filter adapter. This allows more oil to remain in the engine rather than draining back into the pan, allowing for faster oil delivery at startup. This adapter is made of aircraft-grade anodized aluminum and allows you to spin on any filter with a 3/4-16 threads. It's easy to install and has a spring-loaded docking collar to maintain a tight seal and keep pre-filtered oil and post-filtered oil separate. Baxter Performance has a full line of spin-on oil filter adapters for a ton of applications. That is thick! Oh, all right. One down, another to go.
While Faye is finishing up cutting those brackets down, I figured I'd get a jump on installing to supplement our springs. So these cars, trucks, whatever you want to call them, they tend to kind of squat down in the back when they're heavily loaded. We're going to be towing with this thing, so obviously it's going to be very heavily loaded. So this is going to help prevent that squat, prevent sway, kind of a cool deal. In order to get this done, the springs, of course, have to come out. So I'm going to get the back end jacked up and start removing those springs. And then hopefully Faye will be done with those brackets soon and she can help me out because there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into this kit. Springs are out, and as you can tell, our airlift support is quite a bit smaller. Now, obviously, this is going to compress quite a bit, so it doesn't have to take up all of this space, but this is actually a spring that is 1.25 inches higher or longer than the OE one that came on this truck. So instead of just being able to use the regular setup, we had to come up with an additional 1.25 inch spacer. So this was just some old spacer stock material that we had laying around. It was actually much bigger, ground it down to fit. So now that in combination with the spacer that comes with the kit, this should take up the extra slack, and when the spring is compressed, everything should fit in there nicely. I ran just a kind of oversized piece of airline so that we make sure we have plenty. This whole thing is going to basically drop in there like that. And then we will wrangle this back inside and make sure that this all fits the way we are hoping it will. And you would think that we'd be done at that point, but no, we have all of the wiring and all of the electronics and all of the controls, but we're getting close. All right, now.
Oh, okay. There we go. There we go. There we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it's coming out this way. Jump up and down now. There it goes.
Yeah.
Nice. Boom. All right, so that and that. That's the way it's supposed to go.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Nice. Okay, well, that cutting literally took me a million years. I guess that literally, but this metal is so thick. So finally we got everything back in place, and now we can figure out exactly where we can run our airlines without running into anything. And let's see, I think all we have left to do at this point is really tack this into place and get the bed on, and then we can see, is it in the right spot? And pretty much go from there.
Yeah, definitely don't want to fully weld it until we know that we've got it exactly right. But before we put the bed on, we're going to go ahead and put this nifty little tool in place just in case we are exactly where we should, so that you can do a little tap mark and know exactly where your center is, so that you can then use your hole drill to put the hole in the bed so that it all works the way it's supposed to work together.
And actually, like, one thing too we were thinking is that we want to test fit, obviously we're going to test fit the bed, but we might not actually have to cut portion yet, so before I spend even more time cutting what I might not have to cut.
You weren't loving that? Come on.
No. So,
okay, so let's lift this up and we can do our grinding, shall we?
Okay, sounds good. Do you want to move, should we put it forward or back? Just like put it forward a little bit?
Forward.
Okay.
How
it is heavy.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yep.
Looks good.
I know. So as you can see, we have our bed up for what we're hoping as our final mock-up, because we don't want to have to go bother the guys next door again. I mean, because clearly we just move this,
Clearly just the two of us left in this.
Yeah. So now that we got the bed back on, we can do some of our finals. We can cut the hole for where that hitch is going to be.
Yep.
We can figure out where the heck we're going to mount our air compressor.
Yep.
And
we have to get it up in the air to do the gearing in the back end as well. And of course, we are going to still eventually have to take this bed off again.
To do
Sadly,
more welding.
to do all the finished welding, but at least we don't have to cut off our spot welds because it is in a happy position right now. So, shall we get it back
on the lift
in the air?
Oh yeah, we got a lot more to do.
Let's do it. Welcome back, guys. We are continuing to work on our Jeep Gladiator project, and what we have here is something that's kind of cool. This is the front half shaft, and it's kind of an interesting setup. So this is what's called a FAD. It is a front axle disconnect, and it's something that's newer for Jeeps. That's kind of for fuel efficiency, and kind of when you're in two-wheel drive instead of in four-wheel drive, it disconnects the front axle so that you don't have all that drag from the wheels and whatnot. And you can kind of see, actually I'm going to pull this back and disconnect
try to keep mine.
All right,
keep mine in
so
place
we've got two halves, and then we've got this FAD unit. And so when it is in one position, I can turn, as it's turning from the differential, it's not going to turn the wheel, but then activate the FAD, and now,
I'm turning!
Now it's locked up in place. So, not locked up, engaged, locked into one piece. So,
right, so when you are in four-wheel drive mode, obviously all of the wheels are turning. But when you're in two-wheel drive mode, this automatically activates.
Yeah.
And like Bogi said, just make sure that everything in the front, aside from the wheels, of course, doesn't spin. So you don't have all that added drag, all that added wear. And maybe does that have to cut down on the services you have to do too? I wonder
that's
if you
a fantastic question. I assume it probably does on the front axles, because you now have a two-part axle tube that's held together by this cast piece where the FAD unit is going to sit. And if you're doing like extreme off-roading stuff, it's kind of just a weak spot. So some people are switching them over to solid axles, but then you're trading fuel efficiency for strength. It all depends on what you're using the truck for. In this scenario, he's not going to be off-roading. He's going to be hauling, but not off-roading. So leaving this alone. We're going to get the other half shaft out and go ahead and pull our gears.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I'm just weak. But I got it. It's fine. There it goes. Ooh. There's the shim that I don't want to lose. All right. Nailed it. All right, so I mentioned before that our next step was going to be re-gearing this thing. So as you can see, there is an obvious difference between old, which we just pulled out, see still has a bearing on it, and the new. I was actually kind of shocked by like the massive difference here.
I know, hugely visible. So our factory setup was a 373 gearing. So we're going with a lower gearing, bringing us to a 488, which changes things dramatically, right?
Yeah, not just from a visual standpoint.
Yeah, totally. You can see it visually, but it's going to make a huge difference when he changed those wheels to such large wheels and tires. That changed a lot of stuff as far as wear and speedometer and all the rest of it.
Well, and fuel economy. Yeah. And that's a huge reason why people choose these trucks to begin with. It doesn't get like 28 miles a gallon, which is insane. I mean, that's better than all of my cars in this truck. So hopefully this is going to help him get back to that good fuel economy space. Also is going to help for towing. Now, this isn't the most amazing option for towing possible if you actually look at the charts, but this is going to be a really happy medium, giving that drivability back. It's going to be a daily driver more than it's going to be a tow rig. All right, we've got a lot of stuff to do. Let's get to it.
Yes.
All right. So you can see that I have the differential back installed. I got my cover on, and we've actually reassembled all of the suspension. You're probably wondering, wait, Faye, you still have to put in the gear oil, so why the heck did you put that in the way? Actually, check this out. I love this packaging. I mean, you've seen this before. It's so easy to use. So I can actually get this in perfectly right from the top here.
Yeah.
Heck yeah! And have everything in place.
So much better than having to deal with like a transfer pump and all that kind of stuff.
I know, because it really allows you to like save on waste, because this way I know exactly how much I'm putting in. Yep. I don't know that there's like this mystery amount in the transfer pump. I can be like, a little bit more accurate with it and spill up a lot less. So
a little bit more important. We went with the Amsoil Severe Gear 100% synthetic gear oil, and the reason why we did that is because anytime you have metal against metal, which we obviously do in a differential, wear is going to happen, right? Even with such low mileage, Faye and I found the wear that was in there, right? That's going to happen.
Yep. All those metal magnetic shavings on our drain plug.
Yep.
Pretty surprising.
Exactly. And so, when you have a vehicle that you're using for any extreme conditions, whether that's off-roading on extreme terrain, dealing with severe temperature, or towing, like he's going to be doing, having a really good oil with a strong additive pack is crucial. So the Amsoil Severe Gear actually has an add pack that kind of part of the additive package creates a iron sulfide coating on all of the metal components, and that's going to really help protect it for the long haul. And you know how much Faye and I love preventative maintenance. It is always going to cost you less than repair in the long run. So yes. Are we full yet? You need more?
I'm going to need a second one. Yep.
All right. Be supportive.
All right. And there
look at that.
we go.
Nice.
So in addition to the differential service, we're also going to be doing an oil change. I mean, it's in the shop anyway, but it's also due for an oil change. So figured might as well. And for that, we actually chose this Amsoil 540. This is a European motor oil. I know what you're thinking. This is a Jeep. This is like, there's nothing more American than this. But actually, interesting, this engine is designed in Italy. It actually is a European engine. But also, like, this has all the specifications needed for diesel engines, that extra additive package. A lot of people think that, the most important thing to focus on is it synthetic and non-synthetic? And is it the proper weight? In this case, it's synthetic, it's the proper weight, but there's also like a different specification level for diesel oil, and this is it. So
with all the fluids back in the Gladiator, the girls can go to work on cutting the hole for the gooseneck hitch. And then it's time to load it down and watch how well the JT pulls this massive trailer.
come on. This is insane.
At first, he showed up at the shop, and I was just like, dude, can we just install a normal hitch? Like, come on, what is wrong with you? No, there's nothing wrong with him. This is a brilliant idea. And imagine, too, how rad is this gonna look? Once he's got the other Jeep on it, and we got Jeep, well, this drives too. We got our airbags installed. We had to mess around with it a little bit to figure out exactly like what pressure they should be at. We found a happy medium for this current weight, and actually, like, it's not a harsh ride at all. Like, it feels really nice.
It feels comfortable.
With a lift kit.
Yes, we're on 37.
Yes, exactly.
The gearing, I think, was crucial.
Yeah.
But God, he's got the coolness factor. He's got the miles per gallon factor. He's got the towability factor. I mean, this has everything.
Okay.
This has everything.
Can we just give ourselves a little bit of props?
Oh, absolutely.
You did a killer job welding in that piece.
Why, thank you.
It's super sturdy. We painted it. It looked great. It's not gonna rust. Like, it's in there.
Oh yeah.
Also, I love how you remove the gooseneck. That little cap goes in, and it looks super clean. It's like
nothing ever happened. It looks like the factory bed, and you can still use it 100%. It's worth it.
I mean, sometimes he's gonna.
I concede. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I totally concede.
And we just want to know, like, is this the coolest like Jeep tow rig you've ever seen? Hopefully, you think this was super rad enough that we will see you next time on our next amazing episode of All Girls Garage.
Bye, guys.
Bye.